الله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا صاحبي السجن أرباب متفرقون خير من الله الواحد القهار ما تعبدون من دونه إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان إن الحكم إلا لله أمر أن لا تعبدوا إلا إياه ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. We were reading the ayat through which Prophet Yusuf ﷺ was preaching to his fellow prisoners. Ya sahibay as-sijn, O two of my prisoners, co-prisoners, amma ahadukuma fayasqi rabbahu khamra. As for one of you who saw that he was pressing wine in his vision, the interpretation which Yusuf told him that you will be freed and you will again be restored to your position and you will be pouring out the wine to your lord, to your king. Now here Rabb for king. Wamal akhar, and the other one who said that I saw, myself carrying some bread on my head and the birds were eating from it. Wamal akhar, to him he said, he will be fayuslabu, he will be crucified, fatakulu tayru min rasihi, and the birds will be eating from his head. Qudiyal amru alladhi fihi tastaftiyan. This is the decision of the matter about which you wanted to have inquiry and you wanted to have the opinion. وَقَالَ لِلَّذِي ظَنَّ أَنَّهُ نَاجٍ مِّنْهُمَا, and he asked the one about whom he had thought that he will be freed and he will be saved. Uskurni inda rabbik. You just remember me and mention me in the presence of your Lord, the King. Tell him that a person is there in the prison, innocent, he has done nothing. He is there, a prisoner. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ. But Satan made him forget, and he didn't remember that Yusuf had said to him that he should mention him to his king. فَلَبِسَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. So he remained in the prison for a number of years. Now these number of years are said to be 10. When he came out from the prison, he was 30. He was 17, they say, when he was thrown in the well, and then he was taken to Egypt. He remained 3 years at the house of Al-Aziz, the chief executive officer in that government. Then he was imprisoned and remained in prison for 10 years. So when he came out, he was 30. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ. Now this is after about 10 years what is going to happen. Now between these two ayat, there is a gap of 10 years regarding the dates of the incidents. قَالَ الْمَلِكُ, the king said. Now who was this king? First thing that is to be noted is that he is not Fir'aun. Pharaoh was the title of the kings who belonged to the soil of Egypt, the local nation. The people, they were having their own system and they were having their own kings, and they were called Pharaoh. But actually this king was of the Amalekites, Amalekah. They were from the Arabian desert. They had invaded Egypt and they were governing Egypt at that time. And he was a Semitic in his origin. The Egyptians are said to be the progeny of Hazrat Ham, the second son or the third son of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, not Sham. But people of the Arabian desert and of Iraq and Sham, they were the progeny of Hazrat Sham, Semitics. So they were Semitics, they had invaded Egypt and they were ruling there. So as if they were the alien rulers. And that is why they are not called, they are not called Pharaoh. And they say that his name was, they are called Hyksos kings, and the name of this king was Apophis. And his capital was Memphis. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ. And the king said to his chieftains in his court, I am seeing inni ara. And this means, he saw this vision repeatedly. Sab'a baqaratin simanin. I see 7 cows, fat ones. Yakulhunna sab'un ijafun. and they are swallowed and devoured by 7 who are very lean. وَسَبْعَ سُنبُلَاتٍ خُضْرٍ, and I see in my vision 7 ears of corn which are green, وَأُخَرَ يَابِسَاتٍ, and another 7 which are dry. يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَوْ أُوتُونِي فِي رُؤْيَايَ أَفْتُونِي فِي رُؤْيَايَ. Oh, my chiefs, now tell me about my vision. In kuntum li-ru'yaya ta'burun, if you are the interpreters, if you know the expounding of the visions. قَالُوا أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. They said they seem to be mixed up false dreams, and we don't know the interpretation and expounding of this type of dreams which are mixed up, have no reality behind them. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَا مِنْهُمَا, now that person, the 2 prisoners, and the one who was freed, and he was now serving the king, he was to pour the wine in the cup of the king. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَا مِنْهُمَا وَذَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ, and now he recalled after this long period of time. Oh, Yusuf was there, and I asked the interpretation of my dream, and he could tell it, and then he has told me that I should mention about him in the presence of the king. وَذَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُم بِتَأْوِيلِهِ فَارْسِلُونَ. I will be able to tell the meanings and the interpretations or the expounding of this vision. So you send me forth to Yusuf in the prison. Now when he has reached the prison, he says, Yusuf ayyuha Siddiq, O Yusuf, the true one, ayyuha Siddiq, aftina fi sab'i baqaratin. Now give us your verdict in the vision of 7 cows, semanin, who are fat. Yakuluhunna, they are being devoured or eaten up, swallowed, sab'un yajafun, by 7 cows who are lean. وَسَبْعِ سُنبُلَاتٍ, and about 7 ears of corn, khudrin, which are green. وَأُخَرَ يَابِسَاتٍ, another 7 which are dry. لَعَلِّي أَرْجِعُ إِلَى النَّاسِ, so that I may return to the people, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ, so that they can know what is the meaning and interpretation of this dream of the king. قَالَ تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَابًا. He said, Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ said, you will have normal harvest, usual harvest for 7 years. فَمَا حَسَّبْتُمْ فَذَرُوهُ فِي سُنبُلِهِ. So whatever you reap, you keep it in the ears. Don't take them out. Don't take the corns out. This was the way to preserve it, إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ, except the little that you eat. Whatever you require, the daily rations, you take out from the ears, but the rest of it, let it be as it is. ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ صَبْرٌ شِدَادٌ. Then after that, 7 years will be of very hardship. يَأْكُلْنَ مَا قَدَّمْتُمْ لَهُنَّ. Those 7 years will eat up what you had stored for them. You will be storing for 7 years. The excess crop will be stored. Keep on storing them. And now when there will be drought for 7 years, you will eat up the stored grains. Now, إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُوسَدُونَ, except a little amount of it which you will have to preserve for the next crop, as to use it as seeds for the next crop. ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ. Then again, after those 7 years, the year will come, فِيهِ يُغَاثُ النَّاسِ, in which the people will have rains. وَفِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ, and in that year, they will be pressing wine, there will be crop, and there will be greenery, and everything will be okay, and you will be pressing wine. وَقَالْ, now he came to the court, he told the interpretation of the vision to the king. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ أُتُونِي بِهِ. Now he said, bring that person to me. He seems to be very wise. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ, but when, the messenger from the king came to Yusuf, قَالَ إِرْجِعْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ. He said, go back to your king, to your master, to your Lord. فَاسْأَلْهُ, and ask him, مَا بَالُ النِّسْوَةِ اللَّاتِي قَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنَّ. What about the women who cut their hands? I was blamed for that. I was imprisoned for that, without the charge being proved against me. But at least that was said, to be the case. So unless I am, absolved and, I am honorably acquitted of that charge, I am not ready to get out of this prison. Inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. Verily, my Lord knows about their machinations, whatever they did. I didn't do anything wrong. Qala ma khatbukun. Now the king gathered all of them. And he asked them, Ma khatbukunna idh rawattunna Yusuf an nafsihi. What was the matter with you when you solicited and you wanted to and tried to seduce Yusuf? Qulna hasha lillah. They said, by Allah, the blameless. Ma alimna alayhi min su. We don't know, we have no knowledge of anything evil about him. Qalat imra'atul aziz. And now, the wife of that chief minister or the chief executive officer, he spoke out. Al-ana hashas al-haq. Now that the truth has come out, ana rawattuhu an nafsi. I confess that I was trying to seduce him. Wa innahu la min as-sadiqeen. And he is absolutely, he is true. He was not a sinner. ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ. Now about these two ayat, following two ayat, there's very difference of opinion as to who said these words. The continuity of this, text, that demands that these are also the sayings of the same woman. But people usually think that these, things, these words appear to be coming from a very knowledgeable and a person who believes in Allah and everything, And that woman was not of that character or that level or that stature. And these words, they are befitting only for Yusuf, alayhi salatu wassalam. So one way of interpretation is that Hazrat Yusuf said that I didn't want to expose these women, but I did want that, I should be honorably acquitted. ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنُ بِالْغَيْبِ. So that he knows, he should come to know, who? The Al-Aziz, the husband of that woman should come to know that I didn't betrayed him and betrayed his trust in his absence. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي الْكَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And I very well know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to make the guile of the betrayers successful. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. At the same time, I don't declare my soul to be sinless and that it is all free from anything low. Inna nafsa la'amaratun su. Verily, the animal self in man commands him to something evil. Inna nafsa la'amaratun bisu. From here, we derive the word nafsa ammara. And that is not the self, the higher self. We have two selves within us, the spiritual self and the animal self. The animal soul and the divine spirit. These are two different things. We have a composite existence. So now the baser self, as we call it, or in Freudian terminology, the id or libido, well, all these lusts and desires, sensual gratification, they emerge from that baser self. So I don't absolve myself, because the baser self in every human being urges him for something evil. Illa man rahima rabbi, except the one whom the Lord has, shown mercy. Inna Rabbi Ghafurur Rahim, verily, my Lord is forgiving and merciful. Now these words, they are befitting to Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. But some of the exegetes, because, the continuity of the text that demands that these words are of wife of Al-Aziz. Maybe that during these 10 years, she might have been transformed. And she might have, reformed herself. And this seems to be, most of the people believe in it, that although she had all the evil designs before that, but now 10 years had passed. And during this period might be that she had, she had made tawbah, repented, reformed her, and she had become attained such level of knowledge. Maybe, we can't say. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ أُوتُونِي. Now this is to what I was referring by the context. Now the proceedings of the court are going on. And Hazrat Yusuf has not as yet come to the court according to this sequence of these ayat. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ أُوتُونِي بِهِ. Now when all this thing was cleared, in the absence of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam in the court of the king, he said, oh, bring him to me. Astakhlishu li nafsi. I will reserve him for myself. Such a noble man, such a person, such a man of such a high character, I will keep him with me exclusively. فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ, and when he came and they had a dialogue, قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. The king said, oh Yusuf, from this day you will be high in rank near us and a fully trusted person. You will hold a very high position in my court. قَالَ اجْعَلْنِي عَلَىٰ خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ. Because Hazrat Yusuf now had the knowledge what is going to happen, what catastrophe is going to come to this land. So he said, قَالَ اجْعَلْنِي عَلَىٰ خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ. Now put me in charge of all these storehouses of the land. Inni hafizun alim. I am the best keeper and I am a knowledgeable person. I know how to manage things and I will do it, inshallah. So he knew it, and from here, some of the ulama, they deduce that if a person knows that he can deliver the goods, he can present himself, offer himself for some office. Generally it is believed that nobody should offer himself for an office, because to aspire for office is not good. It is really not good. If you are aspiring for any office or any position for your own sake, but if your intentions are that the problem which is going to be faced, you have the know-how and the expertise, and you can, deliver the goods, then you shouldn't keep back, and you should offer yourself. So this is the place from where those ulama, they take the argument and they infer. Because he said, Ijalni ala khadain al-ard. Now place me in charge and authority over all the storehouses of the land. Inni hafizun alim. وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ. In this way, we established Yusuf in the land. يَتَبَوَّأُ مِنْهَا حَيْثُ يَشَاءُ. Enjoying authority as, when and where he liked. نُصِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We bestow our mercy on whomsoever we like. وَلَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And we are never going to let the reward or recompense of the good doers go in waste. وَالْأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ أَكْبَرُ وَالْأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. And surely the recompense or reward of the akhirah, of the hereafter, is much better for those who believe and who have been fearing Allah, who have been having proper regard for Him. Now another 8 to 10 years have passed between these two ayat, 57 and 58. Now again a pause of about 10 years or 9 years or 8 years at least. Then 7 years went okay, normal harvest, whatever was being reaped, most of it was taken into the storehouses, stored, except the rationing given to the people, the lesser the better. Now the famine starts, and it is the 8th year now when the famine starts, and it is proved in history. It was a very widespread famine. It affected not only the Egypt, but the adjoining areas of Palestine and Syria. And now Hazrat Yaqub, along with his 11 sons, he was residing in Palestine. And here Yusuf was in Egypt. But the drought was so severe and the famine was so widespread that this affliction came to them also. But they came to learn that, well, in Egypt there is a king, and he, has a minister or someone who manages the things, and he is kind enough, and he can give grain and, foodstuffs to other people also. So they used to come and get, from there some grain. وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُف. Now the brothers of Yusuf came. فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ. They presented him before Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Who are you? This is our land, and this grain we have stored for ourselves. How come you don't deserve it? So because it was an unusual thing, so they had to be presented that there some people have come from far away and they want, that some grains should be issued to them. فَعَرَفَهُمْ. He recognized them. Oh, they are my brothers. وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. But they couldn't recognize him. وَلَمَّا جَهَّدَهُمْ بِجَهَادِهِمْ. And when he had provided them with the provisions, قَالَ أُوتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُمْ. Now they were 10. Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam had not let Binyamin go with them. It seems that for every family, some mayor fixed. This much amount, this much weight will be allowed as a ration for 1 year for each family. So now 10 of them, they came and they said, another family, another brother who is there behind, he has not come with us. He said, okay, but this time when you come, you bring that brother also. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُمْ بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالُوا ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَكُمْ مِنْ أَبِيكُمْ. Bring to me the brother you have from your father, not your mother's, but your father. أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ. Don't you see that I fill the mayor. وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنْزَلِينَ. I am the best of the hosts. فَإِن لَمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ. If you don't bring him to me, فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِنْدِي. Then you won't find any mayor of these grains with me. وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. And don't approach me. Don't come to me at all. قَالُوا سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ أَبَاهُ وَإِنَّا لَفَاعِلُونَ. They said, we shall try to entice our father. Now he has become very careful about Binyamin because what had happened to Yusuf, so he was over careful now. But we'll try to entice him. And we'll do it. Inshallah, we shall be able to do it. وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِهِ جَعَلُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ. And he, that is Yusuf, said to his boys, Fityanihi, who were working, mayoring and giving, rations, distributing, he said, put their merchandise in their own saddlebags. Now, what price they could offer? People of the desert, coming from the desert, might be some skins of animals, some wool, something of this sort. They had brought it to pay as a price. So he said, okay, whatever they had brought, put them back, put these things in their saddlebags. So that, فِي رِحَالِهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْرِفُونَهَا إِذَا انْقَلَبُوا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ. So that when they go back to their families, they remember it. And they recognize it. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So that they will come again. That he was so gracious to us. He gave us the ration and the grains, and then, he returned to us our merchandise. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيهِمْ قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا. And when they returned back to their father, Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا. They said, oh, our father, مُنِعَ مِنَّ الْكَيْلِ. One mayor has been denied to us. Because he said, if you have another brother, bring him here, then only I will give, his portion of the ration. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا. So please send with us our brother Binyamin. Naqtal. We shall have another mayor. وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And we shall protect him fully. قَالَ هَلْ آمَنُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا كَمَا أَمِنْتُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَخِيهِ. He said, should I entrust him to you, just as I entrusted his brother to you before? فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. Allah is the best protector. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. The most merciful of all the mercifuls. فَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ. And now when they opened their, goods, but وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّةٍ. And they found their merchandise returned to them. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مَا نَبْغِي. Now again they said, oh, our father, what can we desire more? هَذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّةٍ إِلَيْنَا. Our own merchandise has been returned to us. وَنَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا. And we shall get provision for our family and guard our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ. And shall get an extra mayor of a camel's load. ذَلِكَ كَيْلٌ يَسِيرٌ. And this is a very easy thing to get, another mayor. So please send our brother with us. قَالَ لَنْ أُرْسِلَهُ مَعَكُمْ. He said, no, I am not at all going to send him with you. حَتَّى تُؤْتُونِ مَوْثِقًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Until you have a solemn pledge by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَتَعْتُنَّنِي بِهِ. That you will definitely bring him back to me. إِلَّا يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ. Except that you are all rendered helpless. You are all encircled. Then it is something else. But never come to me without him. And you have to give me this solemn pledge. فَلَمَّا آتَوْهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ. When they gave him his solemn pledge, قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ. Then he said, okay, now Allah is the witness and guardian over what we are saying. This is an agreement. وَقَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ يَا بَنِيَّ, and he said, oh my sons, لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِنْ بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ, don't enter that city from one gate, because people will say 11 are coming. So actually, maybe they feel some jealousy in their minds, 11 brothers together. So, وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرَّقَةٍ. So you enter the town from different gates, 2 from this, 3 from this, so that you don't appear to be a big, group. وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ, I cannot save you from Allah anything. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ, all authority is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ, on Him I have placed all my trust and faith. وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ, and surely on Him should all the believers and all those who want to put any trust, in Him should they put their trust. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُمْ, and when they entered from where their father had asked them to enter, مَا كَانَ يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ, Yaqub couldn't save them from Allah anything. إِلَّا حَاجَةً فِي نَفْسِ يَعْقُوبَ قَضَاهَا, except that it was only a craving in Yaqub's heart, and he satisfied it. وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ, and he knew all the knowledge which we had given to him. The knowledge which we gave, he had it. The knowledge which we didn't give, he didn't have it. So it appears that the knowledge which was given was that Yusuf is alive and he will return to you. But the knowledge which was not given where he is, he didn't know. And that was, going to be very hard for him for so many long years. And if you feel, and if you know that your son has died, you have buried him, after some days, you have the patience and you just forget. But knowing he is living, but not knowing where he is, in what conditions he is. Maybe he is a slave, maybe he is being, put to hardships. So these things, they were bothering Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam very much. And due to this grief and sorrow, he had lost his eyesight. He had become blind, practically blind, weeping and weeping and weeping. Because he knew he is alive. But where he is, and in what condition he is, don't know. إِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, but most of the people don't know. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ آوَى إِلَيْهِ أَخَاهُ, and when they entered on Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, he called his brother to him privately. قَالَ إِنِّي أَنَا أَخُوكَ, and he said, I am your brother. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ, now don't remain disheartened with what they have been doing. Those days are now gone, because they must have been doing bad to Binyamin also, the character that they had. So he said, okay, I am your brother and you will stay with me, and now your days of suffering are gone. فَلَمَّا جَهَّدَهُمْ بِجَهَادِهِمْ, now when he has provided them with the provisions, جَعَلَ السِّقَايَةَ فِي رَحْلِ أَخِيهِ, Yusuf himself placed the drinking cup in his brother's saddlebag. Now the caravan was to depart, all the 11 brothers had to go, but Yusuf had placed himself, a cup, and must be of gold. It was king's drinking cup. He put it in the saddlebag of Benjamin. ثُمَّ أَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ, now the servants there, the boys working there, didn't know. But any one of them, he cried out, أَيُّتُ حَلِيرُ إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ, O cameliers, O people of the camels, you are thieves. قَالُوا أَقْبَلُوا عَلَيْهِمْ مَاذَا تَفْقِدُونَ, and they said, turning to them, what are you missing? قَالُوا نَفْقِدُ سُوَاءَ الْمَلِكِ, they said, we are missing the drinking cup of the king. وَلِمَنْ جَاءَ بِهِ حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, whosoever brings it back, we shall be punished. So actually, whosoever can bring us back, for him, حِمْلُ بَعِيرٍ, another camel load of grain would be granted. وَأَنَا بِهِ زَعِيمٌ, and I am responsible, I take the responsibility. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا جِئْنَا لِنُفْسِدَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, they said, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you very well know that we have not come here to make mischief in the land. وَمَا كُنَّا سَارِقِينَ, and we are not thieves. We have come here to get the grains. How can we be thieves? قَالُوا فَمَا جَزَاؤُهُ إِن كُنتُمْ كَاذِبِينَ. They said, then what should be the punishment of the person if you are telling lie? قَالُوا جَزَاؤُهُ مَنْ وُجِدَ فِي رَحْلِهِ فَهُوَ جَزَاؤُهُ. They themselves said, okay, the person in whose sack this cup, drinking cup, can be found, he himself will be the exchange of it. You can keep that person with you as a slave. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ. And this is our method of punishing the thieves, the evildoers. فَبَدَا بِأَوْعِيَتِهِمْ قَبْلَ بِآيَ أَخِيهِمْ. Now Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ began searching their sacks. And he searched the sacks of other brothers before the sack of his own brother, his real total brother, his aini brother, Binyamin. ثُمَّ اسْتَخْرَجَهَا مِنْ وِعَاءِ أَخِيهِ. Then he took it out from the sack of his brother. كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف. Now this is an apology from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf didn't do it on his own. It would have been sort of, deceiving people. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him the permission. He had given him this way, shown him this way. And because this was, Allah knew, this is not going to do any harm to anybody. Even that this Binyamin, he will be saved of the torture, of the persecution of the brothers. He will remain here with the brother. He will be in comfort. And in the long run, Allah knew beforehand what is going to happen. It will be not harmful for anybody. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he commanded Yusuf to do this. كَذَلِكَ كِدْنَا لِيُوسُف. We contrived for Yusuf in this way. مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ. It was not possible for him to retain his brother according to the law of the king. This ayah is one of the most important ayat to understand the essential meaning of deen. Deen al-Malik. The system of governance in that land at that time was of monarchy. What is monarchy? One person holding the authority. Whatever he says becomes the law because he is sovereign. Now there was a law. Hazrat Yusuf a.s. was occupying an authoritative position in that system, under that constitution. He was not himself the king. He was not the sovereign. Sovereign was the king who had seen that vision. And he had, called back Hazrat Yusuf a.s. from the prison and placed him at that position. He owed that position to the king. Now the laws were of the king, not of Hazrat Yusuf a.s. So it was the system of governance in that country that was of monarchy. Now Deenul Malik, compare it with Deenullah. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. Deenul Malik, Deenullah. Deenul Awam, Deenul Malik, a system where sovereignty belongs to a person, king. Deenul Awam, democracy, a system where sovereignty belongs to the masses, popular sovereignty. Deenullah, a whole system of life where sovereignty belongs to Allah. So these three words you must keep in mind. What is deen? Deen is a whole system of life under some sovereignty. Sovereignty can be of a person. Sovereignty can be of the nation. And sovereignty can be of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is Deenullah. Islam is Deenullah. Inna deena indallahi al-Islam. That is Deenullah. And this is Deenul Jamhur. So to say, this is the Deen of Jamhur, the Deen of the masses. Because they have, theoretically speaking at least, they have their sovereignty. مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذْ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Except if Allah commands, نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We raise in rank whomsoever we like. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. And over every knowledgeable person there is someone more knowledgeable. And above all knowing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what was the reaction? These people had not reformed themselves up till now. Even, after the passage of so much time. قَالُوا إِن يَسْرِقْ فَقَدْ سَرَقَ أَخٌ لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Now if this Binyamin has committed a theft, a brother of his had also committed theft, before. So they were blaming, in addition to Binyamin, blaming Yusuf even. فَأَسَرَّهَا يُوسُفُ فِي نَفْسِهِ. So, but Yusuf kept it hidden in his heart. He didn't retort. But he said in his heart, وَلَمْ يُبْدِهَا لَهُمْ, he didn't say so openly to them. He said so in his heart, قَالَ أَلْتُمْ شَرٌّ مَكَانًا, you are worst in this status, in this position. وَاللَّهُ عَالَمُ بِمَا تَصِفُونَ, Allah very well knows what you are saying. You are absolutely giving a false accusation against me. No, I know that I never committed a theft. And you are saying that his brother also committed a theft. If he committed a theft, it's nothing, unexpected, because his brother also committed a theft. So they were still, at that low level of meanness. قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا. They said, "Oh Aziz, he has a father and he is very old. شيخا كبيرا فخذ أحدنا مكانه. You keep any one of us in his place. إنا نراك من المحسنين. We see you that you are a good doer. You behave with people gently. So please accept our request that you detain him. If he committed the theft, according to what we said, he can be detained here. But please don't detain him. Any one of us you like, detain him." قال معاذ الله أن نأخذ إلا من وجدنا متاعنا عنده إنا إذا لظالمون. He said, well, we take refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we should seize a person, except one in whose sake we found our material, our property. If we do this, well, we shall be evildoers. He has done it by Allah's permission to retain Hazrat Binyamin. فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْأَسُوا مِنْهُ, when they were disappointed from him that he is not going to let Binyamin go now, خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا, now they conferred and they consulted each other privately. قَالَ كَبِيرُهُمْ, the eldest of them said, أَلَمْ تَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ أَبَاكُمْ قَدْ أَخَذَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَوْثِقًا مِنَ اللَّهِ. Don't you remember? Your father got from you a solemn pledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْ قَبْلُ مَا فَرَّطْتُمْ فِي يُوسُفَ. And just remember what excesses you did to Yusuf before. He was, the eldest and the kindest among them. He is the one who said, لَا تَقْتُلُوا يُوسُفَ. If you are bent upon doing something to him, well, throw him in some well so that he doesn't die. No, some caravan should come and take him out and take him away from you. If you are bent upon doing something, but don't kill him. And the same now, he is blaming them. مَا فَرَّطُمْ فِي يُوسُفَ فَلَنْ أَبْرَحَ الْأَرْضَ. I am not going to depart from this land. حَتَّى يَأْذَنَ لِي أَبِي. Until and unless my father gives me an express permission. أَوْ يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ لِي. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides something else for me. Maybe he sends death to me in this land, but I am not going to face my father without Binyamin. وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. And surely Allah is the best of the judges. ارْجِعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيكُمْ. Now you go back to your father. ارْجِعُوا إِلَىٰ أَبِيكُمْ فَقُولُوا يَا أَبَانَا. And tell him, "O our father, إِنَّ ابْنَكَ سَرَقَ. Verily, your son committed a theft. وَمَا شَهِدْنَا إِلَّا مَا عَلِمْنَا. And we can't give any testimony except what we have come to know. We can't say whether it is correct or wrong, but these are the facts of the case. وَمَا كُنَّا لِلْغَيْبِ حَافِظِينَ. So we are not guardians over the unseen. What has actually happened, we don't know. وَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةَ الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا. You can ask the town in which we were. وَالْعِيرَ الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا. You ask the caravan, the people in the caravan with which we have returned. إِنَّا لَصَادِقُونَ. We are, whatever we are saying is true. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. Hazrat Yaqub said the same verse. Your minds have enticed you to invent the matter. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. Again, I will have patience, and in a beautiful way. عَسَى اللَّهُ أَنْ يَأْتِيَنِي بِهِمْ جَمِيعًا. This he knew. Yusuf is also alive. عَسَى اللَّهُ, I hope. It's just possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings to me both of them together. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. Verily, he is all-knowing, all-wise. وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ, and he just turned away from them. وَقَالَ يَا سَفَا عَلَى يُوسُف, and he said, alas, oh my grief for Yusuf. Note here, again he is lamenting for Yusuf. Although the fresh, shock was for Binyamin. But the love for Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ was so much, deep in the heart of Hazrat Yaqub that even here he is mentioning Yusuf. Ya Safa ala Yusuf, وَابْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ. And due to the grief, his eyes had become white. Huwa Kazim, and he was, withholding and choking within him the grief. قالوا تالله تفتأ تذكر يوسف حتى تكون حرضا أو تكون من المهلكين. They said, by Allah, you will not cease remembering Yusuf till you become exhausted or you become dead. قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله. He said, I am complaining of my grief and sorrow only to Allah. I am saying nothing to you. Why do you stop me? إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. And I know from Allah what you don't know. I know that Yusuf is alive. I know that he will come to me again. And that is why, I have all this grief. Ya baniya izhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf wa akhihi. Oh my sons, go and search for Yusuf and his brother. Wala tayassu min rahillah. Don't despair from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innahu la yayasu min rahillah illa al-qawmul kafirun. Verily, only the people who disbelieve, they become despaired and disappointed from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ. Now it's a very pitiable position. Now when they came and they presented themselves to Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ, they said, oh you Aziz, oh you powerful, oh you holding the authority. مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ. Affliction has touched us and our families. وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ. And we have brought the merchandise which is of scant worth, no value. Now we have been left with nothing. We can't present anything in exchange. Very little we have to offer as a price for this ration. فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ. But you please give us full measures. Don't look to what we have to offer. You please give us the full measures. وَتَصَدَّقَ عَلَيْنَا. And be charitable to us. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَجْزِي الْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ. Verily Allah rewards the one who makes charity. قَالَ هَلْ عَلِمْتُ. Now this was the time to disclose. He couldn't wait any more. He couldn't see the plight of the brothers. They had gone so, low now. And the condition was so pitiable for Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam to bear anymore. So he disclosed himself. قَالَ هَلْ عَلِمْتُ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. He said, do you recall and remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant? As if they were not ignorant now. They were ignorant even now, but because, he was a gentle person, he didn't want to say that in the face of his brothers. قَالُوا أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف. Now they say, oh, are you indeed Yusuf? قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُف وَهَذَا أَخِي. He said, yes, I am Yusuf and he is my brother, Binyamin. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Our Lord has been very gracious upon us. إِنَّهُ مَنْ يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ. Verily, whosoever has taqwa and proper regard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remains mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and shows perseverance. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't let the reward of these muhsinin go in waste. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ أَثْرَكَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. They said, by God, we swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has indeed chosen you above us. And this is the choice for prophethood. They were all sons of Yaqub. Someone has to be chosen. And it was proved for all of them that actually Yusuf deserves to be chosen. And certainly we have been sinners. قَالَ لَا تَصْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. He said, no, there's going to be no reproach upon you this day. يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. I pray to Allah, He may forgive you. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And He is the most merciful of all the merciful. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا. Now take this shirt of mine and go with it. Take with you this shirt of mine. فَالْقُوهُ عَلَى وَجْهِ أَبِي. And put it and cast it over the face of my father. يَأْتِ بَصِيرًا. his sight will return. وَأَتُونِي بِأَهْلِكُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ, and then you bring all your family and bring them to me here. Now they entered. لَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ. Now when that caravan now left Egypt with that shirt of Hazrat Yusuf, قَالَ أَبُوهُمْ, and now in Canaan, Hazrat Yaqub, their father said, إِنِّي لَأَجِدُ رُيحَ Yusuf. I find and I feel, I perceive the scent of Yusuf. لَوْلَا أَن تُفَنِّدُونَ. Only if you don't think that I have been dementiated due to old age, so I have gone crazy, dementiated. But I am feeling and perceiving the scent of Yusuf. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ إِنَّكَ لَفِي ضَلَالِكَ الْقَدِيمِ. They said, oh, verily, by Allah, you are in your error, your old error. You think that he is alive. He has gone, long away. فَلَمَّا أَنْ جَاءَ الْبَشِيرُ أَلْقَاهُ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ فَارْتَدَّ بَصِيرًا. Now when the bearer of the glad tidings came and he cast the shirt of Yusuf on his face, he became, again seeing. قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. He said, didn't I say to them that I know from Allah what you don't know? قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا اسْتَغْفِرْ لَنَا ذُنُوبَنَا. They said, oh, our father, now ask forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us, for our sins. إِنَّا كُنَّا خَاطِئِينَ. Verily, we were the sinners. قَالَ سَوْفَ أَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكُمْ. Now he is not Sofa. No, he didn't ask the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there and then, at the same time, immediately. He just promised, okay, after some time. Sofa is for future. I will do it, okay. But he was angry. So immediately he didn't ask the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sofa astaghfiru lakum rabbi. Okay, I will ask the forgiveness of my Lord for you. Innahu wal-ghafur rahim. Verily, he is merciful and he is forgiving. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ آوَى إِلَيْهِ أَبَوَيْهِ. Now when all of them entered Egypt and when they presented themselves to Yusuf, he raised his parents, father and mother, to his throne. وَقَالَ ادْخُلُوا مِصْرَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ آمِنِينَ. And he welcomed them. Now enter Misr. If Allah so decrees, you will have peace here. You will have all rest, security. Now note this also point of political importance. Because the king was not an Egyptian, alien king, so that was also advisable for him to have some alien force over there. So he actually welcomed and he settled them down in the best areas of Egypt. The best, the most fertile lands were given to them. Okay, come here, settle. So that he has a force, if there is some rebellion, uprising among the locals, then he can have a support. And that is why, these people, Bani Israel, their progeny, they enjoyed the best of comforts. They were the most, fortunate people. They had the best lands. And they had all the support of that king and his family. And that is why they were very prosperous. They multiplied in number. Udkhulu Misra insha'Allahu aminin. But there was, after a few hundred years, there was a local revolt, a revolution. Then the sons of the soil came up. Now for them, these people were the worst people, because they had supported and they were a source of support for those alien rulers who were not Egyptians originally, who were alien rulers for Egyptians. And he raised both his parents on the throne and they prostrated they fell before him in prostration. And Yusuf said, oh, my father, this is the ta'wil, this is the end, and this is the interpretation of my dream that I saw much earlier. قَدْ جَعَلَهَا رَبِّي حَقًّا. My Lord, my Rabb, has made it true. وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ. And he was very gracious to me when he brought me forth from the prison. وَجَاءَ بِكُم مِنَ الْبَدْرِ. And in the same way, he is very gracious that he has brought you from that desert. وَمِن بَعْدِ أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي. After the Satan has inflicted a strife between me and my brothers. Inna Rabbi latifun lima yasha. My Lord is very subtle to whatever He commands and whatever He wants. Whatever He wants to accomplish, nobody can, obstruct Him. Innahu huwal alimul hakim. Verily, He is the all-knowing, all-wise. Rabbi qad ataytani min al-mulk. Now He is praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh my Lord, You have given me this power to rule the land. وَعَلَّمْتَنِي مِنْ تَعْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. And it is You who taught me the interpretation of all things, all sayings, all visions, all incidents, all accidents. فَاطِرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Oh, the originator of the heavens and the earth. أَنْتَ وَلِيِّي فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. You are my protector, even in this world and also in the hereafter. تَوَفَّنِي مُسْلِمًا. So please make me die as a Muslim. Protect me that I don't go away or go back from Islam and Iman. Keep me a Muslim till my death. وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. And then You join me with Your righteous persons, bondsmen. ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْغَيْبِ نُوحِي إِلَيْكَ. Now this is from the news of the unseen that we are relating to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We are revealing to you. وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ. You were not with them, is ajma'u amrahum, when they had decided and agreed upon their plot to put Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam into the well. Wahum yamkurun, and they were, plotting. وَمَا أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Although, for these people who asked this question, this should suffice. This should be sufficient for them to reveal to them that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And all these news are coming to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It should be sufficient. وَمَا أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. But even if you are very desirous, very keen, most of the people will not come to believe. وَمَا تَصَلُهُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ. And you are not asking for them any reward. In huwa illa zikrun lil alamin. It is nothing but a reminding for all the worlds, all the nations of the world. وَكَأَيٍّ مِّنْ آيَةٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهَا وَهُمْ عَنْهَا مُعْرِضُونَ. And how many signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His unity, His attributes are there in the heaven and the earth, and they pass over them, pass by them. وَهُمْ عَنْهَا مُعْرِضُونَ. But they don't ponder over them. They turn their faces away from that. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. Another very great, very important ayah. And most of them don't believe in Allah, except doing some sort of shirk also. This is applicable to us also. If we, peep down into our hearts and what beliefs we have, and if we interpret, what our actions are, we'll find that we are also committing shirk. But only we have to know what shapes and what forms this shirk can take. What was the shirk of the ancient time? What is the shirk of the modern time? I have a 2 hours recording on this subject, the forms of shirk, different forms of shirk. أَفَأَمِنُوا أَن يَأْتِيَهُمْ عَاشِرٌ مِّنْ عَذَابِ اللَّهِ. Are these people secure that to them cannot come a covering from the chastisement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? أَوْ تَأْتِيَهُمُ السَّاعَةُ. Or to him the appointed hour, that Qiyamah, might come baghtatan, suddenly. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And they will not be perceiving it, they will not be apprehending it. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Say to them, this is my way. I am calling towards Allah, and I am calling not blindly, with sure knowledge. This is most important. هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Not only me, also who are following me. They are not following blindly. They are following knowingly. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And all glory is for Allah. And I am not an associator. I am not from among the associators. I don't associate anyone, anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any respect. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْقُرَىٰ. And we didn't send before you to all these towns messengers, but they were men. They were humans. أَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Have they not moved in the earth, in the land, traveled in the land? فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. And see for themselves what was the end of those who were before them. وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. And surely the house of hereafter is much better for those who have taqwa, who believe in Allah, who regard Him. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. So don't you understand? حَتَّى إِذَا اسْتَيَّسَ الرُّسُلُ. Until when the messengers got despaired. Despaired of what? Not of Allah's help, but that the nation is not going to believe anymore. No one else is going to believe now from among them. This is what you know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we have read it in Surah Hud, that, O Nuh, nobody else is now going to believe in you, except those who have already believed. Hatta iza stayasa rusul, when the messengers of Allah became despaired of the people that they are not going to believe, وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ قَدْ كُذِبُوا. And people also thought that they were told lies. When they were told that a chastisement will come, a azab will come, you will be destroyed, and so many years have passed, no azab has come, and he thought also that all it was lie. It was false threats, nothing else. Ja'ahum nasruna. Then our help came to them, to the messengers. فَنُجِّيَ مَن نَشَاءُ. So whomsoever we please, he was saved. وَلَا يُرَدُّ بَأْسُنَا عَنِ الْقَوْمِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. And our chastisement could not be averted. Our wrath could not be averted from the guilty. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. O you people of understanding, for you there is a lesson in their tales. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. مَا كَانَ حَدِيثًا يُفْتَرَى. This Quran is not something which could be forged by men. وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. It is the divine word, and it confirms that is present before it. وَتَفْسِيرَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And it has all the details for the guidance. وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. And it is the guidance and the mercy of Allah for those who believe. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم.